Shalom. All glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. All right, Barakathum to these men for holding their lot, guiding the elect of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, with true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the scriptures given by our powers Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus. All right. Peace and salutations to the elect, 144,000 men that do follow Yahweh Shai wherever he goes, calling them, all right, to follow him and believe on him to the end. All right, this is Yaakov Wall. This is also an attempt to make my first video back since I've been very sick, man. And, so if you just bear with me while I make this video, man. I would like to go into the topic of Jacob and Esau and their description. There was a couple of things, while I was sick, man, I was reading over a couple of things that, I thought were pretty interesting to bring up, and also just, refreshing information, But there are things, there was a reason when you look into the scriptures, there was a reason why the Lord had described Esau and why he did not describe what Jacob looked like. When you go back to that word human, all right, the word human, the word hue actually means color, and man is, man. So it means a man of color. Now, before Jacob and Esau, all right, every single person on the planet was a darker hue. Actually, a light and a dark shade of hue of brown. All right, because black and white, man, is actually a false construct created by the so-called white man, which is Esau. Sluck it. But the word human comes from a man of color. And before Jacob and Esau, all right, every person on the planet was a dark shade of brown. Or actually a light and dark shade of brown. All right, they were different colors, they were different hues of the color brown. All right. And so when Esau and Jacob came out, when they were born, there were certain descriptions of them and certain things told about them for a specific reason. Because today you've got a different colored man walking on the earth, but he's not a man of color. Okay, he's actually transparent. All right, he lacks melanin pigment in his skin. All right, and it causes him to have no brown in him. All right, and so that man was born, and he had a twin brother, and that man came out looking the same, which is why he was not, his description of his skin color and everything about him was not described really. So I want to go into it, and I want to bring out a couple things, and just take it from there, man. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading the story or the account of Jacob and Esau's birth. But this is Genesis chapter 25 and 23. So it said, well, actually, you know what? I'll start at Genesis 25 and 22, and it says, "And the children struggled together within her, and she said, 'If it be so, why am I thus?' And she went to inquire of the Lord." So Rebekah, who was married to Isaac, all right, which Isaac is our forefather, or technically our forefather. He is our forefather of our actual forefathers. He's the father of Jacob and Esau. With Isaac and Rebekah ended up having Rebekah ended up getting pregnant, but she had a crazy pregnancy. Basically, there was a lot of commotion going on in her womb, to the point where she thought there was something wrong, man. And so when you read the scriptures too, man, that's what I was thinking about. When you read the scriptures, man, you got to understand that when the Lord was identifying certain people that he was dealing with, All right, these people were actually, they still had the spirit of an Israelite, even though they weren't, even though Israel was not yet born. All right, they had that just spirit within them, because the Lord created two different types of, well, he actually created multiple types of spirits, but the two main ones that were displayed throughout the scriptures a lot was the spirit of the wicked and the spirit of the righteous. And the spirit of the wicked dwelt predominantly throughout Esau, which was the so-called white man. The spirit of the righteous dwelt within Jacob, who ended up being surnamed Israel, which is where you get Hebrew Israelites from, because we are Israelites. All right, we are sons of the powers. We are children of the powers. All right, but going back to my original statement, Salakia, I veered off. Oh, but that's what I was going to say. So you got to understand that in the account of Jacob and Esau, you got to understand Isaac. All right, he was a just man. All right, and his forefathers before him, and their forefathers, they were all just men being dealt with by the Most High, but they all possess that same spirit that an Israelite man possesses today as well. So when you read this account, there's a reason why Esau was called Esau. When you look up that name Esau, all right, Esau means wasted away. And when you look at how Jake reacts to the things, they're kind of dramatic, right? Or they're real into it, right? So go ahead and keep that in mind. When Rebecca, all right, when she was also inquiring to the Lord, she was like, man, what's going on, man? You got to understand, like, this was actual literal things, man. Like, she was questioning, like, what's going on in my womb. There's problems going on. I've got a lot of commotion down there. It's going crazy. It's fucking hectic. So she had they had to consult with the Most High and be like, what's going on? And so in verse 23, the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So even though they were going to be brothers, they were going to be totally different from each other, man. They were going to be contrary to each other. They weren't going to have things in common with each other. All right. They were going to live 2 completely separate types of lifestyles, which is why I pulled this up, because I was going to show you eventually what, Esau, what happened whenever Rebecca and Isaac had Esau. But I found this site. It's somewhat helpful, man. It's I don't know what site it was from, because I typed away Esau means wasted away, and I found this site, and it actually brought out some decent information. But it talks about, in verse 22, that the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? So they said, the breakdown said the children were fighting in the womb so much that Rebecca went to the Lord to ask him, if he made her pregnant, why are the babies fighting? Because again, there was so much commotion going on. And she, today, you think miscarriage or, premature birth or something's going on. So there's a problem, And the Lord said unto her that 2 nations are in their womb. So when you go down, it says that the Lord said 2 different nations are in your womb, 2 different manner of people, 2 entirely separated individuals. All right. It said that 2 nations shall be separated once born, meaning the Most High will separate 2 nations from the womb of 1 nation. So it said that she had twins, that the Most High will make the 2 different nations. All right. So when you go back to verse 24, Genesis 25 and 24, it says, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. Now, today, when twins come out, they look exactly alike, right? Or they look identical. Or if they're male, female, but they still look identical. I've known twins in my life. I'm pretty sure you brothers, you viewers, you've seen twins in your life. They look identical, whether they're a boy and a girl or not, whether they're boy and boy, whether they're girl. Each one, they still look identical. So that the Lord mentioned that there was twins. Okay, so when they're coming out the womb, they should look alike, right? Verse 25 says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. So they described what he looked like. All right. And they called his name Esau, because Esau, man, which Esau was going to that name. All right, that name was going to factor into a lot of how Esau actually was. All right, it doesn't say it right here, but thought it. Yeah, Esau does not mean hairy. All right, it does not mean hairy at all. Actually, hairy in the Hebrew is like Sa'ar, I believe, if you're saying it right. But that was wordplay with Mount Seir, which is well, where did Esau dwell? In Mount Seir. You know, but yeah, man. But when you look at the Esau, man, it calls him the waster, the one that covers. All right, all these are traits, and all these are indicators of how he was going to be. So it said, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. Now, why is it not describing what he looked like? Because he looked exactly the same as everybody else on the planet Earth. He had pigment in his skin. He had melanin in his skin. You know, he was a man of color. He was a child of color. All right, he didn't look different from everybody else, man. He wasn't a waste. All right, that's why I didn't describe him. You know. So Slakia, let me think about it. Let me look at something. I think so. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to Esau real quick in the. Slakia, just had to deal with that real quick. But when you look at Esau, it says Esau in the Hebrew Bible, the oldest son of Isaac. He is mentioned in the book of Genesis and the prophets Obadiah. According to the Hebrew Bible, according to the Bible, it's not fucking Hebrew Bible, man. Esau is a progenitor of the Edomites because we do know he was changed. His name was changed to Edom, which meant red. All right, and the elder brother Jacob, the patriarch of the Israelites, which that right there, there's proof. Jacob, all right, we are Israel. Esau and Jacob were the sons of Isaac and Rebekah, and the grandsons of Abraham and Sarah. Of the twins, Esau was the first to be born, with Jacob following, holding his heel. Esau, a man of the field, became a hunter who had rough qualities that distinguished him from his twin brother. So he, again, it's talking about how Esau didn't look like his brother. All right. It said among these qualities were his redness and noticeable hairiness, because Esau was hairy. All right. He had red flesh. All right. You know, he was a red man. It said that Jacob was a plain or simple man. So I want to look into that word real quick when it talks about in verse 27 that the boys grew and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, meaning he was always out there, always out, you know, never at his house. And Jacob was a plain man. And this is what I wanted to get to, because when you look at that word plain, all right, it says the Hebrew word, all right, is Tom.
Strong's H, 8535. Tom.
So when you look at that word, it could mean, yeah, he was plain, he was chill, cool. But really, it said he was perfect and complete. One who lacks nothing in physical strength, beauty, sound, wholesome. An ordinary, quiet sort of person, complete, morally innocent, having integrity. One who is morally and ethically pure. And this right here, man, honestly, this was the one thing I wanted to bring up. This just proves, man, that Israel, man, was meant to be the righteous nation forever. We were set up, man. We were originally designed from the beginning to be morally, ethically pure, morally aligned and sound. This is all I need right here to describe to you, man. At Jacob, man, we are the true Hebrew Israelites. Okay? We are sound and we are complete and perfect. And going into the giving of the laws that Yahweh Bashmi Shai gave Jacob, man, that he gave Israel, man, or that he gave to the children of Israel, it just proves everything else more, that, man, that we are the chosen people of the Most High. And Esau was not. All right? Because you go into, let me see, if I could find it. All right? Um, when you look into the qualities of Esau, all right, it says nothing about being pure or being morally aligned or wholesome. He wasn't given that trait, man. All right, he wasn't given that ability to be sound and spiritual. Okay. Um, I mean, really, the only thing I could find. I wonder. You know what? Let me go ahead and go into the actual etymology. I don't know why. I'm gonna look up cunning real quick. Learned, skillful, possessing knowledge. Let me go ahead and click in. Skillfully deceitful. There you go. That's what I was looking for. All right. Characterized by crafty ingenuity. And one thing that Esau was always acknowledged to be doing in the scriptures when he was up to his fuckery, he was always inventing shit. He was always perfecting his engines. All right. Always working on weapons of war. All right. It said again that he is a sense of cleverness, shrewdness, practical skill, in a secret or crafty manner. It's not Esau all about secrets. It says skillfully, and again, going back to this one, skillfully deceitful. All right. So Esau was described he was described as being skillfully deceitful and a hunter, a man of the field. So he was good at hunting. So adding those two traits together, being a hunter, a man of the field, and being skillfully deceitful in that area, don't we know that his blessing is to live by the sword? Okay, a hunter is somebody who kills things, man. But it said that Jacob was a plain man. Jacob was morally sound and perfect, man. He was complete. You know, they have this joke about Jake being made imperfect, and how God made him and everything, and spray painted him and used the last of the perfect clay to make him and all that. Hey, man, that's really Esau. Because you also notice, man, that Esau, when he ages really weak. He's got really weak features. He wrinkles a lot, But Jake, man, he stays retaining his characteristics, his traits about him. He still sounds complete. He looks complete still. Looks well put together. But Esau wasn't. Okay. And so, Esau was always set up to be the wicked, and Jacob was always set up to be the righteous. Okay. Before ever doing any wrong, man, which we can go into Romans real quick. Before either one of them had did wrong, man, the Lord had already set it up to where they were both going to possess certain qualities about them that were going to make them to be originally what the Lord wanted them to be. It says in Romans chapter 9 and 13, it says, Romans 9 and 9, it says, for this is the word of promise, at this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only this, but Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High, according to election, might stand, not of works, but of him that called. See, but according to the purpose of the Most High, the Lord had already set these two individuals up to be what they were going to be. Before he even had them come out of the womb, he already programmed them to be what they were going to be. And it said in verse 12, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated, because the Lord created Jacob to be a sound and wholesome man. He was created to be morally perfect and complete, but Esau wasn't. Esau was not given those qualities or those traits. Okay? It says, what shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Most High? Yahweh forbid. For he saith unto Moses, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. But the Lord hated Esau, man, from the beginning. He had already hated him. And he created him to be that vessel. He was gonna look at him and be like, oh, you ugly as hell. So I wanted, the lesson didn't really go exactly the way I wanted it to go. So, which is fine, but I still got across what I wanted to talk about. But when I had typed in Esau means wasted away, I found the site and it said, you wanted to know how he did it? Well, see for yourself. 2 black parents have a white baby. And it gave an example. This is basically, I'm not saying this is Isaac and Rebecca, but Isaac and Rebecca looked like that. They were dark. They were people of color. And they ended up having, this is basically Esau. When Esau came out, this is what Esau looked like. Pale skin, no color in him, no pigment in his skin. All right. This is basically a good example of how Esau came out. And it was like, how the hell did it happen? This is weird. But we already got to understand that the Lord is the one who allowed this to happen, man. The Lord created Esau to come out like that because going back to Esau, it's like a Cain and Abel, the Lord had put a mark upon Esau, man. So we could know who Esau was, or we could know who Cain was whenever he came out. So that we could know that the Lord was going to deal with Esau, or Esau deal with Cain whenever the time was appointed. So when Esau came out, that mark, that mark in that, Salakia, just give me a second. Again, just bear with me, man. I'm barely recovering. It's been a couple weeks, so excuse me. But this right here is a good example of what happened when Jacob and Esau were born. There was a reason why Esau was described, because he came out looking entirely different from every other human being on the planet Earth. But when you go back to Genesis 25, it never described what Jacob looked like. It didn't say, oh, he came out looking all dark skinned and with feet looking like burned brass, because he looked exactly like everybody else, man. Dark skinned, a man of color. And so, when it described their qualities and their characteristics, though, of them, that's where you can really also tell, man, who was who and what was what. Because you look out today, man, Esau, he's never at home. He's always out there, man. The city of confusion, man, is always operating, right? At every hour of the day, whether it be morning, whether it be night, whether it be evening, the city of confusion is always operating. That's because Esau is the one who rules this place. It says, but Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents, who's always chilling at home, man. Who always just wants to chill. Jacob. Man, you ask Jake, man, he want to go watch a movie or go do something, man. He'd rather say, nah, man, let's just chill, man. We'll get some food, come back to the crib, chill, watch TV, whatever you want to do. But Esau, man, whether it rains, sleet, or snow, he's always out there, man. So, only other time that it talks about, let me see if I can, let's do this. The only other time it talks about, let me see. It talks about the complexion of Esau and Jacob was right here in Genesis 27:11. It says, and Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. That's another indicator, man. Another clear indicator. And it's only plain to the righteous man because the Lord didn't want to reveal these secrets to everybody. But it's also very easy to understand what that means. Okay, so who are the smooth people of the planet? You so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. Who are hairy people, man? Edomites, so-called white people. But today you do got hairy Israelites. It's all according to the will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai, man. So that way only the Lord at the end of the day can really discern and separate who is who and who is not. So, this is also an indicator, man, of what Jacob was like. All right, because everybody else was smooth on the planet. But I just wanted to go into it, man. excuse me for it being a little bit, long-winded. It was really quick. I just wanted to talk about certain things, man, that like, Jacob was always created, man, to be morally perfect. He was complete. We are the complete people of the Most High, man. We are the chosen Hebrew Israelites, the children of the Most High, meant to represent the Lord and to keep his ways, because it is encoded into us to be that. All right, we're plain people. We're complete, sound, and wholesome. Whereas Esau, the so-called white man, he is not. All right, and it was always, well, real quick, I'm gonna look up real quick. You go into the word hairy, which I mentioned this earlier. You go into the word hairy for Esau. It said right here.
Strong's H 8181. Sayard.
Now, Sayard, when you go into the to Wikipedia or other sites, when it talks about Esau being hairy, they actually say, which if it's a connection to the scriptures or not, whatever it may be. But I just thought it was interesting, man, that Sayar, they said some scholars would like to say that when they called Esau hairy, that it was wordplay about where he was going to dwell in Mount Seir, because they're similar. All right, when you look into Mount Seir, I think that's how you spell it. Because again, right here, Esau was dwelling in Mount Seir, but it's similar, right? I'll play it.
Strong's H 8165. Seir.
Right, which this is where Esau dwelt, right? Which it says Seir, hair, or shaggy. Say it's just, again, it's just a close connection. So it said the patriarchs of Horites, the inhabitants of Edom before the descendants of the Edomites, a mountain range in Edom extending from the Dead Sea to the Atlantic Gulf. So, but this is where Esau dwelt, in the mountains. All right, which cavemen. So just saw a couple words, man. I wanted to put them, bring them out. That that's the scriptures. They show you the indicators of who's who today, man. That's how we put together who is Jacob, who is Esau, who are the other nations, because their characteristics of them still play out, and they still play out the same way, even from the biblical scriptures, man. So again, just wanted to bring that out. Not too big, not too fancy, but again, Esau and Jacob, man, always were. That's how we could tell predestination of who they were, man. The Lord created us to be the ones to rule this earth forever, and Esau was going to follow, and he was going to be put into captivity in the end, and ultimately done away with. So, Lord willing, this is a little edifying, man. I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and honors and blessings to the Akim, the 144,000, the elect that do follow Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to the very end. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Barakathum, Kwam Mashallah Shalom.